I never imagined my life would become this chaotic mess, but looking back, it all makes sense. My name's Evan Hayes, and this is how I went from being a fake husband to almost a murder victim, all for the sake of likes and shares. It's not a fairy tale. It's real, raw, and ugly. But hey, if you're a man who's ever been in a toxic relationship, maybe this'll hit home. Well, it started 3 years ago, in the heart of LA's influencer grind. I was 27, posting fitness routines and motivational speeches on Instagram and TikTok, scraping by with 200,000 followers. Nothing groundbreaking, but it paid the bills. And then I met Chloe Bennett at a creator event in downtown. She was 26, all glossy hair and perfect makeup, dishing out beauty tips and lifestyle vlogs to a similar audience. We got paired for a panel on collabs, and afterward we shot a quick video together, just for fun. Couples yoga fails. It was silly. Us tumbling over each other, laughing like idiots. Uploaded it that night, and boom. Views spiked to 1 million overnight. Comments poured in. You two are adorable. Ship them. Our managers saw dollar signs. Mine, a slick guy named Derek, pulled me aside. Evan, this could be huge. People love a fairy tale. Date her publicly. Build the brand. I chuckled. We're not even attracted to each other. Fake it. Engagements will skyrocket. Chloe's manager, Lisa, was even pushier. She was this no-nonsense woman in her 40s, always in power suits, treating Chloe like a product. Chloe, he's perfect for our narrative, I overheard her say once. A power couple? Brands will throw money at you. Chloe and I talked it over at a coffee shop. So, what do you think? I asked, stirring my latte. She shrugged, her green eyes calculating. Why not? My views are flatlining. Let's do dates, reels, the whole thing. But I want 60% of any joint sponsorships. We shook on it. No romance, just business. Our first date was a staged picnic in Griffith Park. Baskets, blankets, professional photographer. Posted it with captions like, "Found my person." Followers jumped. Brands called. Energy drinks, apparel lines. It was addicting. But the facade cracked fast. Behind closed doors, we were oil and water. To be honest, she was a dumb woman. That's stupid, Chloe. Stick to what you know, a lipstick. She would fire back and cry, but I tried to be honest with her. You're too sensitive. Grow up. Chloe was materialistic to the core, obsessed with luxury. Evan, I need that new Chanel bag. It's for a haul video. If I said no, she'd explode. You're controlling me. I deserve this life. One night, she threw a glass at the wall during an argument about vacation plans. If you don't book that Maldives suite, I'm done. Her aggression escalated, shoving, screaming. She once scratched my arm deep enough to draw blood. You make me do this! We pushed through for the fame. 6 months in, Derek and Lisa pitched marriage. Marriage, kids, nah. But a wedding? That's content gold. Live stream it, Derek said. Chloe and I debated. It's extreme, I said. She smirked. But imagine the followers. We did it in Malibu 2023. White sands, drone shots, sponsored by a jewelry brand. Vows were scripted. You're my forever. Honeymoon in Bora Bora, all paid for. We had 1 million followers each. By year 2, it was crumbling. Fights got public. Subtle shades and stories. I posted about mental health breaks, implying that she was unstable. She would hint at my wandering eyes. Well, truth is, I wasn't cheating then, but the rumors helped. Engagement soared. We filed for divorce in early 2025, making it a spectacle. Press releases, tearful IGTV confessions. It's been hard, I said in mine, voice cracking for effect. Chloe's struggles have taken a toll. She countered. Evan's seeing others. I deserve better. Followers ballooned. Brands loved the drama. Breakup skincare lines, empowerment workouts. Lisa saw opportunity in the chaos. I didn't know it then, but she whispered poison in Chloe's ear. Divorce buzz fades fast. But if Evan disappeared, widow status, super fame, brand deals, all sympathy your way. Lisa, that's fucked up. Even I have limits. And that's when Sophia entered the picture. Sophia Reyes, a budding influencer, 150K followers. She was fire. She started tagging me in her reels. Dream collab with @EvanHayes. Manifesting. Flirty, but smart. Word got to me through mutuals, and yeah, I DM'd her. Love your energy. Let's link up. Our first meet was electric. A coffee turned into a full-day shoot. Flirty fitness challenge. Her laugh was genuine, not that forced giggle Chloe did for the camera. Evan, you're killing me with these push-ups, she teased, her hand brushing my arm. Bet I can outlast you. We bantered like old friends. Views? Insane. Comments? Better than Chloe. Chloe noticed. Her next reel was vicious. Spot the fakes. Extensions, lashes, butt pads. Hashtag authentic AF. Targeting Sophia's look. Sophia DM'd me. Your ex is jealous. Should I respond? I said, ignore her. But Sophia posted subtly, all real, all me. Haters gonna hate. Chloe's jealousy boiled. More reels. Plastic princess alert. Internet ate it up. Feud trending. I started seeing Sophia more. Not just content, real dates. She would whisper, forget the ex, Evan. Let's make our own story. Now, I wasn't sure whether Sophia was using me for views or whether she meant it. The night it all went down, I'll never forget. I just wrapped a late shoot with Sophia. She crashed at my house. Chloe still had a key. We hadn't changed locks amid the divorce mess. I got a tip from an anonymous follower. Watch your back. Chloe's planning something. Her manager Lisa has been pushing her, telling her to make her final move before the buzz fades. Do it before he moves on. Poison in your wine. Sounded crazy, but I checked my security cams later. Yep, Chloe sneaking in earlier, tampering with my favorite Cabernet. Why wine? We always toasted post-divorce wins ironically. I played it cool. Kept an antidote handy. Naloxone kit from a doc friend, just in case. Poured the glass, pretended to sip while scrolling Insta. Heart pounding. From the living room window, I sensed eyes on me. Chloe, watching like a predator. I bolted outside. Sophia stood there, heaving, a gardening shovel in hand. Chloe crumpled on the ground. What? Sophia? She dropped the tool, eyes wild. She was lurking, Evan. I saw her through the window, grinning like a psycho. She poisoned you. I heard her muttering about it earlier today, tailing us. Ah. Chloe groaned, stirring. Nothing about me is fake, you Not even my butt. She kicked the jeans aside, standing there defiant, moonlight hitting her skin. I froze. Mix of shock and, damn, attraction. We're done with her games. Come here, my girl. We left Chloe there, dialing 911 as we shut the door. Sirens wailed soon after.
Hey fam, Mr. Broccoli this side. Do subscribe and hit the like button if you're enjoying this video.
My son James was my everything. My only child after his father passed away when James was just 10. I raised him alone, pouring every ounce of myself into making sure he had the best private schools, summer camps, a college degree in business. James was my boy through and through, always calling me for advice, always putting me first. Until Rossi came along. I remember the day he brought her home like it was yesterday. It was a sunny afternoon. James was beaming, his arm around this ugly woman. "Mom, this is Rossi. We've been dating for a few months now." I forced a smile, but inside my stomach churned. Rossi was from Romania. She grew up in a rundown apartment complex, her family scraping by on minimum wage jobs. I could see it in her eyes, that calculating glint. She wasn't good enough for my James. He deserved someone from our world, someone with class, education, ambition. But James was smitten, and no matter how many times I hinted that she might be after his inheritance, the house, the savings I'd built up, he brushed it off. "Oh, she's genuine, Mom," he'd say, hugging me. "You just need to get to know her." We argued about it endlessly. "James, honey, think about your future," I'd plead over dinner. "She's not like us. What if she's just using you?" But he married her anyway, in a small ceremony at the courthouse because they couldn't afford anything fancy. I refused to attend. It broke my heart, but I had to stand my ground. After that, things changed. James stopped calling as often, and when he did, it was all about Rossi, how she was taking classes to become a nurse, how they were saving for a house. I felt like I was losing him, piece by piece. I'd visit unannounced, pointing out how the apartment was messy, or how Rossi didn't cook like I did. "See, son, a real wife would have this place spotless," I'd say. Now, Rossi tried to be polite at first, but eventually she snapped. "Mrs. Hargrove, with all due respect, this is our home. If you can't be supportive, maybe you shouldn't come over," she told me one evening, her voice steady but edged with frustration. James sided with her. "Mom, you need to back off," he said, his eyes avoiding mine. That was the beginning of the distance. They moved to a small house in the suburbs, and my visits became rare. I was left alone in my big, empty house. How dare she take my boy from me? She was a gold digger, plain and simple. I knew it in my bones. Years passed. 5, to be exact. James built a decent career in real estate, and Rossi got her nursing degree. But cracks appeared. I heard through mutual friends that they were arguing about kids, money, everything. Then the call came. It was James, his voice cracking. "Mom, Rossi and I are getting divorced. It's over." My heart leaped with joy, but I played it cool. "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Do you need me to come over?" "Yes, please," he whispered. I packed my bags that night and drove to his place. I cooked his favorite meals, listened to him vent about how Rossi had changed, how the spark was gone. But then I saw it. Even after the papers were signed, Rossi still came around. She'd drop off forgotten items or check on the dog they shared custody of. They'd laugh in the kitchen like old friends, no bitterness. It infuriated me. "Why is she still here?" I asked James one night. "The divorce is final. Cut ties." "We're trying to stay amicable, Mom. It's not her fault entirely." "Amicable?" She was worming her way back in. I was sure of it. I couldn't let her win. And that's when the plan hit me. Late one night, as I scrolled through my phone, seeing ads for services disguised as companionship. I needed someone to make James forget Rossi once and for all. Then, I'd orchestrate a scene where Rossi walked in on them, maybe in the act, or at least with photos as proof. She'd be humiliated, gone for good. I found Julia online through a discreet site. She was in her late 20s and stunning. We met at a coffee shop in Buckhead. She was even more stunning and elegant in person. I need you to charm my son, I explained, sliding an envelope with cash across the table. Make him fall for you, temporarily. I'll pay you $5,000 up front, 5 more when it's done. Her eyes lit up. What's the catch? She asked, sipping her latte. He's hung up on his ex. I want her out of the picture. Seduce him. Get intimate if you can. I'll handle the rest. Julia nodded, no questions asked. Deal. I introduced her to James a week later. This is Julia, my friend Martha's daughter. She's single, just moved back to town. Thought you two might hit it off as friends. James was polite, chatting about work and hobbies. But I could see he wasn't biting. Julia tried. Flirty touches, lingering glances. She texts me updates. He's friendly, but no spark yet. I urged her on, paying extra for her efforts. Keep trying, I'd say. You're gorgeous. He'll come around. Meanwhile, I reached out to Rossi. I'd like to mend fences, I told her over the phone. Come over for dinner this Friday. James will be here too. Let's put the past behind us. She hesitated, but agreed. Okay, Mrs. Hargrove, for James's sake. Friday arrived. I had Julia over early, instructing her to wait in James's bedroom. When I signal, make your move, I whispered. James got home from work, tired, but unsuspecting. I poured him a drink to loosen him up. Relax, son. Julia's stopping by later. Thought we could all hang out. Rossi showed up at 7. We sat in the living room, awkward small talk flowing. So, how's nursing going? I asked, forcing a smile. It's busy, but rewarding. Helping people heal. It's what I always wanted. James joined us, and I saw the way he looked at her. Lingering, regretful. My blood boiled. Excusing myself, I texted Julia. Now. Then I called out, James, can you check on something in your room? He went in, and I led Rossi toward the hallway. Well, let me show you the new curtains I hung, I said innocently. Peeking through the cracked door, I watched. Come on, James. It's been weeks. I know you want me. Let me take care of you. James froze, his face flushing. What the hell, Julia? He stammered, looking away, tears welling in his eyes. I can't do this. I still love Rossi. This is wrong. He stormed out, slamming the door. Rossi and I stood there, shocked. She had seen it all through the opening I'd left. What was that? She gasped. James wiped his eyes. Mom, you set this up, didn't you? Julia's not Martha's daughter. This is insane. And before I could deny it, screams erupted from the bedroom. We rushed in. Julia was furious, yelling at me. You crazy old b****. He rejected me flat out. I've been trying for weeks and nothing. You promised this would work. You worthless trash. I paid you a fortune. You couldn't even seduce a heartbroken man? She lunged, but I slapped her first, hard across the face. Get out, now! Julia's eyes blazed. She grabbed the table lamp, swinging it like a bat. It cracked against my shoulder, pain exploding. You think you can treat me like you nutcase? I screamed, falling back. Rossi rushed forward to help me. Stop! Julia, stop! But James held her back. Let him fight it out. Mom deserves this. She's been manipulating everything. Rossi looked at him horrified. James, she's your mother! Not anymore. Rossi, let's get out of here. There's a new bar downtown with live music. Want to grab a drink? Just us? She blinked and then nodded, a small smile breaking through. Yeah, I'd like that. They left without another word, the door clicking shut behind them. Julia and I were left panting, glaring daggers. She was still spitting curses. Keep your money, you psycho! I'm done! She stormed out, leaving me alone on the floor, bruised and humiliated. I sat there for hours, nursing my wounds with ice. Rossi was still a stupid stealing my son again. James was stupid too, blind to her schemes. I was right all along. They just couldn't see it. James didn't come home that night. He texted, "Staying with Rossi. We talked. We're giving it another shot." I called, begged, screamed into voicemails, "Come back, son, she's using you!" No reply. Eventually, he showed up to pack his things. "Mom, this is goodbye. Rossi and I are moving to Florida. Fresh start." "Please, James, I did it for you." "No, you did it for yourself. Goodbye." The house felt emptier than ever. I joined a book club, tried therapy, but the anger lingered. A friend said I was too controlling. But how could I let go? He was my world. Months later, I heard they remarried. Small beach wedding. A mutual friend sent photos. James happy, Rossi glowing. I deleted them immediately. So now I sit alone, watching TV. I wonder if I was wrong. But deep down, I know I wasn't. Love makes fools of us all, especially mothers. If I could do it over, I'd fight harder. For him. For us. I never thought buying a beat-up old coffee table off Craigslist would turn into the most satisfying revenge story of my life, but that's exactly what happened. My name's Lily. I had just moved into a rental after my latest disaster. Yeah, my house had burned down. Again, but I'll get to that. I pulled up to their house in my red SUV, the one with the dent on the passenger side from that idiot ex of mine. The ad said $20 for a solid oak coffee table. Nothing fancy, but I needed something to put my feet up on while I rebuilt my life. The couple, Mark and his wife, whose name I later learned was Susan, greeted me at the door. They looked like your typical mid-30s duo. Him with that boyish charm and a button-down shirt that screamed creative agency guy. Her with yoga pants and a ponytail that said, "Stay-at-home mom trying to keep it together." "Hi, I'm Lily," I said, shaking their hands. "Here for the coffee table." Susan smiled politely. "Come on in. It's right here in the living room. We've had it forever, but it's sturdy." I knelt down to inspect it, running my fingers over the scratches. "Looks perfect. I need new furniture because my house just burned down." Their faces dropped like I'd announced a death in the family. Mark's eyes widened. "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." Susan nodded vigorously. "Hey, we don't need the $20. You can just have it." I laughed lightly, pulling a crisp bill from my wallet. "Oh, it's no problem. I have plenty of money. I just don't have any stuff because my house burned down." I handed them the 20, watching their confusion. They exchanged glances. Susan stammered, I'm sorry that your house burned down." "It's okay. I'm used to it." "Used to it? Like how many times has this happened?" I didn't answer right away. Instead, I let my gaze linger on him a second too long. Those broad shoulders. The way his hair flopped just right. He shifted uncomfortably, but I saw the spark. Susan noticed too. Her smile tightened. I hoisted the table toward the door. Thanks again. See you around. As I drove off, I couldn't help but smile. The fire thing? It wasn't a lie. My first house went up in flames back in my 20s. Faulty wiring, they said. The second was with my ex-husband, Derek. Let's just say insurance payouts are a girl's best friend when you're married to a deadbeat who can't keep a job. But I wasn't about to spill that to strangers. Well, a few days later, I found myself driving by their neighborhood again. Call it curiosity. Mark intrigued me. I parked a block away once or twice, just watching the house. Nothing creepy. Okay, maybe a little, but I wasn't hurting anyone. Then, one afternoon, I spotted Susan leaving the local salon, her hair freshly highlighted. I pulled over and rolled down my window. Susan, right? From the coffee table? She froze, clutching her purse. Lily, what are you doing here? I leaned out, smiling sweetly. I need to talk to you. It's about your husband. I need him for a weekend getaway. I'd be willing to pay. Her face turned beet red. What the hell, woman? Before I could explain, her hand flew up and slapped me across the cheek. The sting burned, but the shock was worse. People stared from the sidewalk. I touched my face, fury rising. You just crossed a line. I was being polite, offering compensation. Now, I'll take your husband for free. Start counting the clock. She scoffed. Yeah, off. I know my husband well. I drove away, heart pounding. Polite? Maybe not. But after years of dealing with men like Derek, lazy, entitled, always expecting me to carry the load, that slap ignited something. Susan thought she knew Mark. I'd show her. Mark worked as a campaign planner at a boutique ad agency downtown. I'd done my homework. LinkedIn is a goldmine. Posing as a potential client, I reached out via email. Hi, Mark. I'm starting a small lifestyle brand and I need help with branding. Saw your portfolio online. Coffee sometime? He responded within hours. We met at a trendy cafe near his office. He was even cuter up close. So, Lily, he said, sipping his latte, tell me about your brand. It's about empowerment for women who have been through hell. Divorces, losses, like me. My ex-husband was a total burden. I ran the house, paid the bills, even kept things warm with his family. He just existed. Mark nodded slowly. That sounds tough. My wife's great, but yeah, I get it. Sometimes I feel like I'm the one holding things together at home, too. Over the next few weeks, our meetings became regular. We'd brainstorm ideas, but conversation always drifted personal. One afternoon, in his office, I shared more. Derek never lifted a finger. I'd come home from work, and the dishes would be piled up. His relatives always dropping by, expecting me to play hostess while he watched football. Mark sighed, rubbing his temples. Susan's the same sometimes. Last week, she forgot to pay the electric bill. Again. I had to sort it out during my lunch break. And her family? Holidays are a nightmare. I'm the one meditating while she chats away. I touched his arm lightly. Sounds familiar. What about intimacy? Derek treated it like a chore. Always too tired from doing nothing. He chuckled nervously. Yeah. Susan's been distant lately. Work stress, she says. But I feel like I'm begging sometimes. Our connection deepened. He opened up about feeling undervalued. How Susan nagged about chores he already did, like fixing the leaky faucet or planning date nights she never appreciated. She once yelled at me for not reading her mind about groceries. I mean, I work 50 hours a week. I mirrored his frustrations. Exactly. With Derek, I'd handle everything. Finances, social calendar, and he'd complain that I was controlling. But without me, he'd have been homeless. By our fourth meeting, the air crackled. We were at a bar after hours discussing visuals. His hand brushed mine. "Lily, you're easy to talk to," he murmured. I smiled. "You too, Mark. Feels like we've known each other forever." "This is wrong," he whispered. "No, this is what you need." The affair ignited fast. For 2 months, we stole moments. Lunch hour hotel rooms. Late-night client calls that ended in my bed. I would tell him, "You're not a burden, Mark. You're a king." God, Lily, you get me. But I kept tabs on reality. Susan suspected something. I'd see her circling my block once, her face pinched. Mark confided that she accused him of cheating, but he denied it. "She's paranoid," he'd say. One weekend, we escaped to a cabin in Wisconsin Dells. My treat. No work pretense. He talked endlessly about leaving Susan. "She's like my ex in your stories, always expecting me to fix her messes. Remember when she slapped you? That's her temper." I laughed. "Yeah, that." But inside, I plotted. It was payback. For the slap. For her smug, "I know my husband." And, honestly, for all the Dereks in my past. Women like me, we're tired of carrying dead weight, of being the strong ones while men leech. Mark was no different. He just hid it behind charm. The end came on a rainy Friday. We'd been at my place, now a cozy apartment that I had furnished post-fire. He lay spent, head on my chest. "Lily, I think I'm falling for you." I stroked his hair. "Really?" "Yeah. Susan's filing for divorce. She found texts." Perfect. I sat up, feigning surprise. "Wow. So, us?" He grinned. "Us." "Actually, Mark, this was fun, but we're done." His face crumpled. "What?" I laughed coldly. "Your wife was right. You are a burden, always complaining about her. But look at you, cheating, lying. I ran this whole thing. The meetings, the getaways. You just showed up." "Lily, please, get out." I tossed his clothes. "Your wife was spot on. You are indeed a burden." He dressed in stunned silence, tears welling. I thought we had something." "We did. 2 months of me proving a point." I shoved him toward the door. "Tell Susan I said hi. Oh, and next time your house burns down, get used to it." He left, slamming the door. It was perfect. Susan got her karma. Mark learned his lesson. And me? I just burned another house. Ha! The summer after I graduated college, I was desperate for a job. Not just any job, but one that felt glamorous and connected to the things I loved. I was 23, living in my parents' apartment in a small town outside of Phoenix, Arizona, and dreaming of the big city. I loved makeup, the creativity of it, the feeling of transformation. When I saw the ad for a digital brand strategist at Aura Lux Cosmetics in downtown Los Angeles, I was ecstatic. They promised a generous starting salary, a sophisticated office environment, and a chance to work with high-end beauty products. It felt like the perfect start to my adult life. I took out a small loan for the bus ticket and arrived in LA, a city so big and loud that it made my head spin. I aced the interview with Mr. Sterling, a smooth-talking man in a tailored charcoal suit with a too-wide smile. He talked about disrupting the luxury market and leveraging influencer culture. It all sounded incredible. Well, on my first day, the dream shattered. The Aura Lux Cosmetics office was in a windowless, run-down building in an industrial area. Not the sleek high-rise I'd imagined. Instead of an open-plan office, it was a single, long room with rows of worn-out cubicles. There were about 10 of us, mostly young women. Some fresh out of college, like me, others a little older. The digital brand strategist job was, in reality, a scam operation focused on luxury lipstick. Our product wasn't real. Aura Lux didn't sell anything except lies. Our job was to cold email and contact people who had already bought makeup online. We bought stolen customer lists for this. We'd tell them that they were chosen for a limited VIP pre-release of a revolutionary new luxury lipstick called Velvet Night, a shade that supposedly had a waitlist of thousands. The catch? They had to pay a non-refundable $25 priority access fee using a specific, untraceable wire transfer service in order to hold their tube. The lipstick never existed. The fee was pure profit, funneled into shell accounts. We were stealing, plain and simple, mostly from young, aspirational women who couldn't afford to lose the money. I had spent hours in college reading about digital ethics and honest marketing, and here I was, staring at a script that was nothing but a manipulative lie. I went straight to Mr. Sterling's office, my hands shaking. Mr. Sterling, I think there's been a terrible misunderstanding. This isn't marketing, this is fraud. I can't do this. I need to leave. Mr. Sterling's expression shifted faster than a chameleon. The smooth charm evaporated, replaced by a cold, hard menace. You can't quit, Amelia. We invested in flying you out here, he said, his voice dropping to a low, threatening growl. Besides, where would you go? He gestured to the wall safe behind him. Your driver's license, your birth certificate, your college transcripts. I have everything. You signed a standard employment contract stating your identity documents would be held for security and tax purposes. You walk out that door and you're a ghost in LA. You certainly don't have the bus fare back to the desert, do you? He was right. My small loan was gone, spent on the bus and a few cheap meals. I knew no one in this massive city. And the shame of calling my parents, who had thrown a small, proud party for me when I got the job, and telling them I had flown across the state to join a criminal ring was too much to bear. So I stayed. Mr. Sterling owned the entire low-rise. The operation was on the ground floor, and the employees were housed in tiny, miserable apartments above. I was crammed into a single room with 5 other young women, all of whom had been lured here with the same false promises. Some had been there for months, their initial outrage worn down into a dull, defeated apathy. We worked 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week, making just enough salary to pay for the cheap microwave meals Mr. Sterling provided. My lifeline was my roommate, Maya. She was a brilliant girl from San Diego who had been working there for about 3 weeks before me. We quickly bonded. On nights when the exhaustion hadn't completely flattened us, we'd whisper in the darkness about escape plans. Plans that ranged from dramatic Hollywood-style heists to simply walking out the door and never looking back. We both knew they were just fantasies. Mr. Sterling had created a perfect trap, preying on our ambition and our lack of funds. I couldn't use a cell phone. They were strictly forbidden. I was only allowed to email my parents from my workstation, and every email was about a great team and hitting my sales targets. Well, one day, about a month and a half in my imprisonment, I was finally done. I sent out a long, anguished email detailing the scam, the stolen IDs, and my desperate situation. Before I could click send, a shadow fell over my screen. Mr. Sterling had a hidden monitoring system. He calmly walked over, his eyes cold. "We keep communications professional here, Amelia. Try again." He deleted the draft with a chilling smile. This went on for 4 miserable months. I successfully conned at least one person a day, convincing them to send money for the non-existent Velvet Night lipstick. I felt like a monster every time I did it. The only thing that kept me sane was Maya. We promised each other that we would get out, and we would get everyone else out, too. Then, a miracle happened. It turned out that Aura Lux wasn't the only scam operation like this in LA. The city had become a hub for all sorts of digital fraud. The local government and federal authorities decided to intervene. They began shutting down internet access, not broadly, but by flagging the unique IP addresses and server fingerprints of known fraud operations and systematically cutting their commercial-grade access. We relied on a dedicated fiber connection, so when they pulled the plug, the entire office went dark instantly. Oh! Mr. Sterling's booming, enraged voice echoed through the office. Maya and I looked at each other. This was it, our chance. Some girls started crying, others panicking, fearing that they'd be unable to hit their weekly quotas. Maya and I marched into Mr. Sterling's office. "Mr. Sterling, it's the main optical feed, sir. They've shut us down. But I think I know how to get the auxiliary satellite link back online." Mr. Sterling was panicking. He understood fraud and manipulation. Technology was a mystery to him. "Fix it! Do whatever you need to fix it!" "We can, but we need you to do one critical thing," Maya interjected calmly. "We need to reboot the main dish's primary relay. It's on the roof, sir. There's a specialized panel near the antenna. You need to flip the marked yellow switch, wait 30 seconds, and then press the red emergency bypass button." It was a complete, confident fabrication. There was nothing on the roof but HVAC units and pigeons. All our core network equipment was in the server closet next to his desk. "You two do it!" he screamed. "Can't, sir. The reinitialization sequence has to be run from the console down here," I explained, pointing vaguely at a dusty switch box. "If we move, the sequence resets. It's incredibly sensitive. You have to go up. It's the only way to save the operation." Maya launched into a barrage of complicated-sounding technical jargon. BGP routing protocols, optical carrier termination, DNS propagation, making it sound utterly essential that she and I remain in the office and that he go to the roof. Desperate and technologically illiterate, Mr. Sterling finally agreed. He snatched the key to the roof access hatch and stormed out of the office, his expensive leather shoes squeaking down the hall. The moment the door slammed shut, we moved. We didn't have much time. Mr. Sterling would soon realize that there was no yellow switch or red button. We focused on the wall safe where he kept our IDs. "He uses the same 4 digits for everything," Maya muttered, prying at the filing cabinet near the safe. "His bank pin was on a sticky note under his keyboard. I bet it's his birthday, June 24th. I quickly dialed 0624 into the safe's keypad. The tumbler clicked, and the heavy door swung open. Inside was a treasure trove. Stacks of driver's licenses, passports, social security cards, and college degrees, bundled with rubber bands. Our identities. And then, a stroke of pure karmic luck. Mr. Sterling, in his fury and haste, had left his dark crocodile skin wallet sitting on the edge of his mahogany desk. We scooped up the IDs and the wallet. The wallet contained his credit cards, several $100s in cash, and a small notebook. Flipping through the notebook, we found what we were looking for. The 4-digit PIN written discreetly next to a bank name. We raced out to the main cubicle area, our hearts pounding against our ribs. "Listen up!" Maya yelled, holding up the stack of IDs. "He's on the roof. The internet's dead, and the police will be here eventually. He took your IDs, but we have them. Get up, take your ID, and leave. Now!" Only 2 of the women, paralyzed by fear and long-term psychological defeat, stayed frozen at their desks. The rest of us surged forward, grabbed our documents, and bolted for the fire exit. We didn't stop running until we reached a busy street corner 2 blocks away. The first thing we did was find the nearest ATM, a small independent machine in a convenience store. Maya used Mr. Sterling's ATM card and the PIN to empty his checking account. We withdrew every dollar, dividing the cash equally among the group. "Go to the bus station," I told the group. "Go to the train station. Buy a ticket and don't look back. Don't call anyone until you're outside of LA." We hugged quickly, a flurry of relieved tears, and muttered thanks, and then scattered, blending into the LA crowd. Maya and I headed straight for the central bus depot. As we waited for our respective buses, hers back to San Diego, mine back to Phoenix, we said our goodbyes. It was a fast, necessary farewell to a trauma that we had shared and conquered. It had all happened so fast, I never got to see the look on Mr. Sterling's face when he came down from the roof after discovering the non-existent red button to find his office empty, his safe wide open, his money gone, and his entire operation dismantled by the very people he had victimized. I hope he felt every ounce of the anger, betrayal, and hopelessness that he had inflicted on the thousands of people he scammed for a living. I remember the day I landed in Paris like it was yesterday. The kind of memory that sticks with you, sharp and unrelenting no matter how much time passes. It was my first international trip. A big deal for a 24-year-old from Chicago who'd spent most of her life dreaming about Europe from the safety of her Midwest apartment. I'd saved up for months. Paris, the city of lights, romance, all that crap they sell in movies. I was traveling solo at first, with my best friend Alex flying in the next morning from New York. The flight was exhausting. Turbulence the whole way over the Atlantic, and I barely slept. By the time I cleared customs at Charles de Gaulle, it was late afternoon, and the jet lag hit me like a truck. I grabbed a taxi, fumbling with my broken French, and headed to the hotel I'd booked on a budget site. It was in the 18th arrondissement, near Montmartre, which sounded charming online, but felt a bit off when we pulled up. The streets were narrow, graffiti-covered walls, a few sketchy-looking guys hanging around corners smoking. Not the Eiffel Tower glamour I'd imagined, but hey, I was in Paris. I told myself it was authentic, real life, not touristy. I dragged my suitcase into the lobby. The front desk guy looked up from his phone, mid-30s maybe, with dark hair, a trimmed beard, and a smile that seemed genuine. "Bonjour, mademoiselle. Checking in?" he asked in accented English, his voice smooth and welcoming. "Yeah, hi. Reservation under Emily Carter," I said, handing over my passport. He typed something into the computer, chatting casually about the weather, how it was unseasonably warm for October. He was helpful, pointing out a nearby pharmacy on a map for my phone SIM card and recommending a crepe stand down the block. "You look tired from the flight," he added, handing me the key. "If you need anything, just call down. I'm here all night." "Thanks. I appreciate it," I replied, feeling a little less alone in this foreign city. He wasn't bad looking either. Fit, with kind eyes that made me think he was just doing his job, being nice to a solo traveler. I headed up to my room on the second floor. A tiny space with a lumpy bed, thin curtains, and a view of a brick wall. No big deal. It was cheap. I unpacked a bit, texted my mom back home that I'd arrived safely using the hotel Wi-Fi since my phone wasn't set up yet, and crashed for a nap. Alex's flight was due in at 8 a.m., so I told the desk guy, whose name was Mark, to transfer any calls if someone rang for me. A few hours later, around midnight, I woke up craving a smoke and something to drink. Jet lag had me wired, my body clock all screwed up. I headed downstairs. The lobby was empty except for Mark, who perked up when he saw me. "Couldn't sleep?" he asked, leaning on the counter. "Nah, time difference is killing me," I said, rubbing my eyes. "Mind if I step out for a cigarette and maybe grab a water from the vending machine?" He glanced around and then nodded. "It's late. The streets aren't the safest alone. Tell you what, I'll join you for a smoke break. I could use one." I hesitated for a second, but he seemed harmless, and honestly, the idea of not being out there by myself was appealing. Sure, why not? We stepped outside, the cool night air hitting my face, carrying the distant hum of traffic. He lit my cigarette first, like a gentleman, and we talked about nothing important, where I was from, what I planned to see in Paris. "You must get a lot of Americans here," I said, exhaling smoke. "Oh yes, but not many as pretty as you," he replied with a grin. It was flirty, but not creepy. I laughed it off, chalking it up to French charm. No weird vibes. He kept his distance, and after 10 minutes, we headed back in. "Good night, Emily. Sweet dreams." Back in my room, I dozed off again. But around 3 a.m., I jolted awake, thirsty and restless. Decided to go down for that water after all. Mark was still there. "Back so soon?" he said. "Yeah, just need a drink." "Hey, did my friend call? Alex? His flight might have been delayed or something." Mark paused, then leaned in closer. "Actually, yes. He called about an hour ago. Said he couldn't make it. Some issue with work. He's not coming to Paris after all." My stomach dropped. That didn't sound right. Alex had been hyped about this trip for weeks. "What? Are you sure? Let me check my phone." Wait, no signal yet. Can I use the desk phone to call him back? He waved it off. "No need. But hey, if you're alone now, why don't you come over to my place after my shift? It's not far. I have some good wine, and I can show you the real Paris. The spots tourists miss." No thanks. I'm good. Just gonna head back up." I grabbed a water bottle from the mini fridge, paid quickly, and bolted upstairs, heart racing a little. Something was off. His whole demeanor had shifted, like a switch flipped. In my room, I double-checked the lock, but sleep wouldn't come. I paced, wondering if I was overreacting. Cultural differences? Or was he just a creep? Then, the doorknob rattled. Soft at first, like a mistake, but it turned, and the door creaked open. There he was, Mark, standing in the doorway with a master key in his hand. "What the hell?" I yelped, jumping off the bed and backing into a corner. The room was tiny, no window escape, no phone in reach. "Emily, relax," he said, stepping inside and closing the door behind him. "I just wanted to check on you. You seemed upset downstairs." Get out! You can't just come in here!" My voice shook, but I tried to sound firm. He didn't listen. He walked toward me, slow and deliberate, grabbing the back of my head with one hand, pulling me in. I shoved him hard, twisting away. "Stop! No!" He grabbed my arm, slamming me against the door. Pain shot through my shoulder, but fear drowned it out. "Come on, Emily. I'm a man, you're a woman. Just let it. You came down twice tonight. You know you want this." "To hell with you! Get off me!" I screamed, kneeing him in the thigh. But he was stronger, pinning me there. His phone buzzed then. Once. Twice. Insistent. Cursed under his breath, glancing at it. Front desk. Customer waiting. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. He let go, straightening his shirt, and slipped out, leaving the door ajar. I didn't waste a second. Heart pounding, I grabbed my purse, phone, and key, waiting a beat before creeping downstairs. As I hit the landing, voices echoed up. Familiar ones. Alex. He was at the desk, looking rumpled from his flight. Look, man, she checked in hours ago. Emily Carter, can you call her room? Mark's voice calm as ever. I'm sorry, sir. No one by that name has arrived. Maybe she went to another hotel? Paris has many. Liar! Rage boiled over the fear. I burst into the lobby. What the actual f***? I'm right here! Alex, this guy's a psycho. He just broke into my room. Alex's eyes widened. Em? What happened? Are you okay? Mark paled, stammering. This is a misunderstanding. She invited me up. He lied about your call, tried to assault me. We're leaving, now. We didn't wait for explanations. I raced upstairs with Alex, threw my stuff into my suitcase while he stood guard at the door. Back down, I slapped my key on the counter. Refund my card, and expect a call from the police. Mark muttered something in French, processing the checkout with shaking hands. We stormed out into the night, hailing a cab to a chain hotel near the Seine, one with security cameras and English-speaking staff. Needless to say, it was the scariest moment of my life. My name is Grace. And back then, I was just a wild 19-year-old, fresh out of high school and dipping my toes into community college while waitressing at a diner in suburban Chicago. Dad was a truck driver, always on the road, hauling loads across the Midwest. Mom had passed when I was little. Breast cancer, the sneaky kind that hits hard and fast, so it was just me and him against the world. We'd moved into this cozy, split-level house in Oak Park after she died, trying to start fresh. It wasn't fancy, but it was ours, with a basement full of old boxes and Dad's collection of vinyl records that he swore were worth a fortune someday. Well, that particular weekend, Dad was out on a long haul to Kansas City, not due back till Monday. I'd been at a house party in Wrigleyville. I stumbled home around 2 a.m., tipsy but not wasted, craving something greasy to soak up the vodka cranberries. The house was dark, the street quiet except for the occasional car humming by. I kicked off my heels in the foyer, flicked on the kitchen light, and started rummaging for tortillas and cheese. Midnight quesadilla, my go-to comfort food since forever. As I heated the pan on the stove, I heard it. A cough. Not a loud one, but sharp, like someone trying to stifle it. It came from the basement stairs just off the kitchen. My heart jumped into my throat. Hello? I called out, my voice cracking a bit. No answer. I froze, listening. And then another sound. Rustling, like papers being shuffled. Adrenaline hit me like a freight train. I grabbed the nearest thing, a wooden spoon from the counter, and yelled, "Who's there? I'm calling the cops!" But I didn't wait. I bolted for the front door, slamming it open and running barefoot into the cold night air, screaming at the top of my lungs. Neighbors' lights flickered on as I pounded on Mrs. Jones's door next door. By the time that the police arrived, the intruder was gone. They'd slipped out the back, over the chain-link fence into the alley. The cops found the basement window jimmied open, and inside, drawers pulled out, boxes overturned. Nothing major missing at first glance, just some cash from Dad's emergency stash and a few pieces of Mom's old jewelry. But the violation hit hard. I spent the rest of the night at Mrs. Jones, wrapped in a blanket, sipping tea while she patted my hand. "You're safe now, Grace. These things happen, but you're tough, like your mom." Dad rushed home the next day, his big rig parked crooked in the driveway. He enveloped me in one of his bear hugs. "Grace, I'm so sorry I wasn't here. What the hell happened?" I recounted it all, tears streaming. The police report was straightforward. Burglary, likely opportunistic. But Dad's face paled when he checked the locks. "The front door key. It's the spare one Lucy had," he said, frowning. Lucy, his ex-girlfriend. They dated for about a year after Mom, but it ended messy 6 months back. She was a real estate agent, all polished smiles and high heels. I'd never liked her. She always talked down to me like I was a kid, even though I was paying my own bills. "Why would she still have a key?" I asked, my stomach twisting. Dad rubbed his temples. "I asked for it back, but she said she lost it. I changed the locks anyway, remember? But maybe she made a copy before that." We reported it to the cops, but without proof, it was just suspicion. Life moved on. Sort of. I started sleeping with a baseball bat under my bed, and Dad installed security cameras. It wasn't until 2 years later that the truth exploded like a grenade. I was 21 by then, living in my own apartment downtown. Dad had remarried, a sweet woman named Karen who actually treated me like family. One evening, he called me, his voice urgent. "Grace, you gotta come over. It's about Lucy." I drove out to Oak Park, heart pounding. Karen greeted me at the door, her eyes red-rimmed. "Your dad's in the living room. This is insane." Dad was pacing, a newspaper clipping in hand. "Lucy's been arrested for burglary. But not just any. Her sister-in-law's house. And get this, it's the same MO as ours." I sank onto the couch. "What? How?" He handed me the article. Lucy had been caught red-handed breaking into her brother's wife's home in Naperville. The SIL, let's call her Emily, had come home early from a trip and found Lucy rifling through her clothes drawer. Emily screamed, Lucy bolted, but neighbors saw her car. When the cops searched Lucy's place, they found stolen items from multiple homes, including ours. Mom's pearl necklace engraved with her initials. But why? Why us? Why Emily? Dad sat down heavily, his face ashen. The detectives called me. They pieced it together from her confession and the emails they subpoenaed. It's twisted, Grace. Bizarre as hell. Well, it turns out Lucy was a master manipulator with an evil vendetta that spanned years. When she met Dad at a real estate conference, he was looking to flip a property. She lied about her past, claimed she was divorced, childless, stable. But really, she was married, separated but not legally, and had a history of affairs. She seduced Dad for access. You see, Dad had confided in her about his rainy day fund. Not just cash, but bonds worth over 50 grand stashed in the basement safe. She gaslighted him constantly, making him doubt his memory. "Oh, honey, you said you moved the safe last week," she'd say when he couldn't find something, planting seeds of confusion so he'd second-guess himself. Lucy had this fetish for control, using herself as a weapon. She'd manipulate Dad into role-playing scenarios where she'd confess fake secrets, getting him to reveal more about his assets under the guise of intimacy. One night, she whispered, "Tell me where you'd hide something precious from me, if I were a bad girl." Dad, being a man, laughed and pointed to the basement. She stole the key that very week, duplicating it while he slept. It got weirder. Lucy wasn't robbing for money alone. Her ex-husband, Emily's brother, had left her after catching her in an affair. To get back, she targeted family members, starting with exes like Dad. She'd plant compromising items in the home she'd robbed. In our basement, cops later found a hidden USB drive with spicy photos of Lucy and Dad, but edited to look non-consensual, like he'd forced her. She planned to discover it later, blackmail him, gaslight him into thinking that he'd blacked out and forced things. "Oh, you don't remember? You were so rough that night," she'd say, twisting his guilt. With Emily, it was even more depraved. Lucy had seduced her own brother years ago. A one-night fling during a family reunion, blackout drunk. Emily knew, had forgiven the brother, but Lucy held the grudge. She broke in to steal Emily's toys collection, you know what I mean? Yeah, really. And replaced them with ones laced with her own scent, along with forged notes implying that Emily was cheating. Manipulation at its peak. Gaslight Emily into doubting her marriage, whispering lies to her brother like, "I saw Emily with someone. Maybe she's not faithful." Dad broke down as he told me. I feel like a fool, Grace. She played me like a fiddle." I hugged him tight. "It's not your fault, Dad. She's a psycho." But in the end, Lucy got the punishment she deserved. I remember the day I left for South America like it was yesterday. It was early 2019, right after I'd quit my soul-sucking job. My friends thought I was nuts, a solo female traveler heading into the wilds of Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, and beyond with just a backpack and a vague itinerary. I'd read all the forums, packed my pepper spray, and figured I'd blend in with my rusty Spanish from college. What could go wrong? My first stop was Bogota. I checked into a hostel in La Candelaria, the kind with bunk beds and communal kitchens where everyone shares stories over instant coffee. That's where I met her the first time, Maya. She was Israeli, probably mid-20s. She was sitting at the breakfast table, nursing a mug of tea when I plopped down across from her. "Hey, mind if I join? I'm Julia, from the States," I said, forcing a smile through my jet lag. She looked up, her face lighting up like she'd been waiting for company. "Sure. I'm Maya. Just got here from Tel Aviv. First time in South America?" We chatted for hours that morning. She was fresh off her mandatory army service, backpacking to find herself, or whatever cliche we all chase. She had this infectious energy, laughing loudly at my stories about Midwestern winters and sharing tales of hiking in the Negev desert. By noon, we had decided to team up for a day trip to Monserrate, the mountain overlooking the city. It felt easy, natural, like I'd found a travel buddy without even trying. But things went south fast. On the cable car up, Maya started fidgeting with her phone. "I think I left my wallet back at the hostel," she muttered. "No way. Want me to check my bag? Maybe you handed it to me," I offered, rummaging through my stuff. She shook her head. "Nah, it's probably in my room. I'll grab it later." At the top, we wandered the church and viewpoints, snapping selfies with the city sprawled below. That's when the storm hit. Out of nowhere, dark clouds rolled in and rain poured like someone had flipped a switch. We ran for cover, but Maya slipped on the wet stones, twisting her ankle bad. "Oh, this hurts," she groaned, clutching her leg. I helped her hobble back down, but by the time we had reached the hostel, her ankle was swollen like a balloon. The desk guy called a doctor, who bandaged it and said she'd be limping for days. "Bad luck, huh?" I joked, trying to lighten the mood as I brought her ice. She laughed weakly. Story of my life. But hey, thanks for sticking around, Julia. Most people would have bailed. That night, over beers in the common room, she told me about her plans. Heading south to Medellin, then Ecuador. I was on a similar route, so we exchanged numbers. Let's meet up if our paths cross, I said. Little did I know, they would, over and over, each time worse than the last. A week later, I was in Medellin, exploring the Comuna 13 neighborhood with its colorful murals and escalators snaking up the hills. I had met a couple of Aussies at my new hostel, and we were grabbing empanadas when my phone buzzed. It was Maya. Hey, in Medellin too. Ankle's better. Want to grab drinks? I hesitated for a second. Her bad luck from Bogota lingered in my mind, but I shrugged it off. We met at a rooftop bar in El Poblado, the trendy part of town. She showed up with two guys in tow, a Brit named Tom and a French dude, Pierre. They seemed nice enough, all laughs and travel war stories. So, what have you been up to? I asked Maya as we clinked glasses of aguardiente. Oh man, you wouldn't believe it, she said. After Bogota, I hitched a ride to Salento, the coffee region. Beautiful, right? But the Jeep I was in skidded off the road in the rain. Flipped twice. I walked away with bruises, but the driver broke his arm. Tom chimed in. Yeah, we met her in the hospital waiting room. Crazy story. Pierre nodded. She's got 9 lives, this one. We partied late, dancing to reggaeton until the bar closed. But as we stumbled back, Maya pulled me aside. Those guys are cool, but I think Tom's sketchy. He keeps eyeing my bag. I brushed it off. Alcohol talking, I figured. The next morning, though, she texted me, frantic. Julia, they robbed me! Took my cash and passport while I was sleeping! I'm at the police station! I rushed over, helping her file a report. The cops were useless, shrugging about tourist problems. Maya was in tears. Why does this keep happening? First the ankle, now this, and Tom and Pierre, gone, just vanished. Vanished? Like, they left the hostel? I asked. Yeah, no note, nothing. The receptionist said that they checked out at dawn. I lent her some money for a new passport and bus ticket, but inside, a voice whispered, "Get away. This girl is a magnet for disaster." I said goodbye that afternoon, wishing her luck as she headed to Quito. I pushed on to Peru, trying to shake the unease. Cusco was a dream. Ancient ruins, vibrant markets, and the buzz of trekkers prepping for Machu Picchu. I joined a group hike to Rainbow Mountain, feeling alive for the first time in weeks. But on my way back to town, guess who I spotted at a cafe? Maya, alone, nursing a coffee with a bandaged hand. Julia? Oh my God, what are the odds? She exclaimed, waving me over. I forced a smile, sitting down. Hey, Quito treat you okay? Her face darkened. Not really. Met a group in Ecuador. 2 American girls and a local guide. We did the Quilotoa loop hike. Stunning views, but then an earthquake hit. Small one, but it triggered a landslide. We barely made it out. One of the girls, Jess, twisted her knee bad. Had to be airlifted. Jesus, Maya. And the others? She shrugged. The guide quit on us after that. Said I was mala suerte. Bad luck. The girls stuck around for a bit, but then they just disappeared. Left in the night without a word. I woke up alone in the hostel. A chill ran down my spine. Disappeared? Again? That's creepy. You think something happened to them? Who knows? Maybe they got scared off. Anyway, I'm here now. Heading to Machu Picchu tomorrow. You? I lied. Nah, I'm going south to Arequipa. No way was I joining her. We talked a bit more, her sharing wild army stories, me nodding politely, but I excused myself early, claiming a headache. Bolivia was next for me. The salt flats of Uyuni, endless white expanses under blue skies. I splurged on a jeep tour with a mixed group, Germans, a Canadian couple, and me. We were bumping along the Salar when our driver pointed out a lone figure hitchhiking. Want to pick her up? Looks like a traveler. My heart sank as we got closer. Maya, waving enthusiastically. "Julia? This is insane!" she yelled as she climbed in, dusty and grinning. The group welcomed her, but I felt dread coil in my gut. "What happened after Cusco?" I asked quietly. Her voice dropped. "Machu Picchu was a nightmare. Hiked the Inca Trail with a new crew, 3 Brits. Altitude sickness hit one hard, and then a rock slide blocked the path. We had to turn back. The Brits argued with the guide, and next morning, poof, gone, no trace." The Canadian woman, Lisa, overheard. "Gone? Like, kidnapped?" Maya laughed it off. Nah, probably just ditched me. I'm starting to think I'm cursed." That night around the campfire in our salt hotel, stories flowed. "Back home, I was in a unit that dealt with border skirmishes," Maya said, staring into the flames. "Saw some shit. Friends lost. Maybe it's karma following me." The German guy, Klaus, leaned in. "Or maybe you're just unlucky. Happens to the best of us." But the next day, disaster struck. Our Jeep hit a pothole hard. Tire blew, and we spun out on the salt. No one hurt bad, but the vehicle was wrecked. We waited hours for rescue, baking in the sun. Lisa twisted her ankle jumping out, and the Canadians whispered about Maya being jinxed. When help arrived, I hitched a ride with another group, leaving Maya behind. "Stay safe," I muttered, avoiding her eyes. She grabbed my arm. "Julia, wait! Travel with me? It's lonely out here." "Sorry, I can't. I got plans." I pulled away. Chile was my escape. Santiago's bustling streets, wine tours in the valleys. I thought I'd outrun her. But 2 weeks later, at a vineyard tasting, there she was, chatting with the sommelier. "Julia? Holy crap!" She hugged me like an old friend. This time I didn't hide my frustration. "Maya, how? This continent's huge." "Fate, I guess," she said with a wink. But her eyes were tired, shadowed. Over wine, she spilled. After Bolivia, she had gone to La Paz, met locals for a death road bike tour. Brakes failed on one bike. Guy crashed, broke his leg. The group freaked, and by morning, half had vanished. No goodbyes. Vanished? "Maya, this isn't normal. Maybe you should go home." She sighed. "I know, but I can't. Not yet. Israel's waiting, but freedom, you know?" We talked deep into the night. "What if it's not bad luck?" I ventured. "What if something's following you? Like what? A curse? Or maybe I'm the problem. In the army, I lost a partner on patrol. Bullet meant for me. Survivor's guilt, they call it." For the first time, I saw beyond the chaos. A woman haunted, just like me, running from my boring life. But the next day, at the vineyard, a fire broke out in the fields. Sparks from a worker's cigarette, they said. We evacuated, but Maya's bag got left behind, burned with her clothes and money. "See? Infectious," she joked through tears. I helped her again, buying her a bus ticket to Argentina. "This is the last time," I said firmly. "Go home, Maya." She nodded. "Thanks, Julia. You're the only one who's stuck around, even if you run." Argentina was my turning point. Buenos Aires, tango, steaks, I was at a milonga, learning steps from a local named Carlos, when my phone rang. Unknown number. Julia? It's Maya. I'm in BA. Bad news. My blood ran cold. What now? Bus crash en route. Flipped on a curve. I walked away, but my travel mates, 2 didn't make it. The others scattered. Some just left the hospital without a word. Dead? Maya, this is serious. You need help. Meet me? Please, I'm scared. Against my better judgment, I went. She was at a cafe in San Telmo, looking gaunt. Julia, I think it's me. People around me, they disappear or die. We talked for hours. Tell me everything, I urged. She confessed. In Israel, during service, her unit was ambushed. She survived by hiding, but her best friend didn't. I should have fought. Instead, I ran. Now, it's like death follows me. But as we left, a mugging happened. 2 guys on a motorcycle snatched her purse. I chased them, yelling, but they got away. In the scuffle, one grazed me with a knife. Shallow cut on my arm. I'm done, Maya. You're toxic. Her face crumpled. I'm sorry. Go. Save yourself. I left, heart pounding, and booked the next flight home. But this is not the end of it. A few months later, I got a Facebook message. Maya. Made it home. Safe. Thanks for everything. No more bad luck. Yet. I replied. Good. Stay there. Yeah, I used to think that love was a battlefield. But watching Laura and Steve was more like watching an expertly choreographed waltz in a minefield. They were perfect. Sickeningly, annoyingly perfect. The kind of couple that made you want to check your own reflection for cracks. We were all classmates at NYU, supposedly suffering through the same grind, but Laura and Steve seemed to glide above it all. Steve came from old money, hedge funds, and Hampton summers. Laura was the scholarship girl with the face of a runway model and the brain of a shark. Together, they were the golden couple. And I was Stacy, the friend, the reliable, slightly invisible, always supportive friend. You look amazing, I told Laura one night at a gallery opening in Chelsea, forcing a smile so wide my cheeks hurt. Seriously, Steve can't take his eyes off you. I know, Laura beamed, clutching Steve's arm. Isn't he the sweetest? Steve grinned, that dopey, love-struck look on his face. I'm a lucky guy, Stace. I know it. You sure are. Deep down, I hated them. Or rather, I hated him. I looked at Laura, her sharp jawline, the way her eyes lit up when she laughed, and I felt a pang in my chest that had nothing to do with friendship. She was wasting herself on him. Steve was bland. He was vanilla ice cream in the world of gelato. He didn't see her, not the way I did. I knew how ambitious she was. I knew how meticulously she curated her Instagram to hide her Queen's accent. I knew she deserved better than a trust fund baby with a receding hairline. But on the surface, I played the part. I was the supportive bestie. I commented goals on their photos. I listened to Laura complain about Steve's mother. I waited. The jealousy was a slow-acting poison. I needed to break them up. Not just for me, but for her. She needed to be free of him to see what was right in front of her. The opportunity came during the spring break of our junior year. We were all at a house party in Brooklyn. It was crowded, loud, and sweaty. Steve was trying too hard to be one of the boys, doing shots of tequila with guys he barely knew. I saw my opening. Hey, I slid up next to him, handing him another shot. Laura's looking for you, but you should probably loosen up first. She hates it when you're too stiff. Steve, already glazed over, took the shot without question. You think? Totally. Here, have another. Didn't take much. Within an hour, he was stumbling. I guided him toward a back room where a few girls from the theater department were chillin'. I pushed him onto a couch next to a girl named Chloe, who was already half passed out. Steve, look at the camera, I shouted over the bass. The pictures were great. Steve looked wasted, his arm around another girl, her head on his shoulder. It screamed cheating scumbag. I sent it to Laura anonymously 10 minutes later. Thought you should see how Steve behaves when you're not in the room. I waited for the explosion. I waited for the tears, the phone call, the breakup. It never came. The next day, Laura posted a picture of a giant bouquet of roses. Caption, "He knows how to say sorry for partying too hard. #love him." I stared at my phone, my blood boiling. She refused to doubt him. She was blinded by the money, or the status, or maybe she actually loved the idiot. It pissed me off. It made me realize that a simple misunderstanding wouldn't be enough. I needed something nuclear. I started stalking him. Not in a dangerous way, just observant. I tracked his movements, gym, class, apartment. But then I noticed a pattern. Every Tuesday afternoon, he went to a nondescript medical building in Midtown. It wasn't a general practitioner. It wasn't a therapist. I followed him inside one Tuesday, waiting in the lobby until he went up to the 14th floor. The directory listed 3 businesses: a dentist, a podiatrist, and smooth skin laser and electrolysis. I bribed the receptionist at the laser clinic with a sob story about thinking my boyfriend was cheating on me. She didn't buy it, but she bought the $50 I slid across the counter just to confirm he was a client. Mr. Harrington? Yeah, he's a regular. Full back, shoulders, neck. Poor guy has it rough. Hair all over, the doctor says. I did some digging. I found an old high school yearbook photo of Steve online that hadn't been scrubbed. He was on the swim team. Even then, you could see it. The dark, dense patches of hair creeping up his neck over his shoulders. He was a werewolf, a hairy, sweaty beast wrapped in Armani suits. This was it. It was petty, it was shallow, but for a girl like Laura who prided herself on aesthetics, on perfection, it was leverage. I confronted him a week later outside the clinic. Hey, Steve. He jumped, clutching his gym bag. Stacy, what are you doing here? Just getting a coffee, I lied, nodding at the Starbucks cup in my hand. Rough session? What? He looked panicked. The laser. Must hurt like hell. Does Laura know? About the extent of it? The back? The ears? Steve turned pale. Stacy, don't. I have photos, Steve, from your high school days. And I know you're spending thousands a month to keep it hidden. Imagine if I posted those. The Rat Man of NYU. Laura would be humiliated. What do you want? He whispered, his voice trembling. I want you to leave her. She's too good for you. You're gross, Steve. You're a hairy little lie. Break up with her. Tell her you fell out of love. Tell her anything. Just end it. He looked at me with pure hatred. But I saw the fear. He was a coward. 3 days later, Laura called me, crying. Steve had ended it. He told her he needed space to find himself. I went over immediately with wine and ice cream, playing the part of the grieving friend perfectly. I held her while she cried. I told her he was an idiot. I told her she was free now. I don't understand. She sobbed into my shoulder. Everything was perfect. I know, honey, I know. But you deserve someone who is sure about you. Weeks went by. I thought I had won. Laura was single. I was spending every day with her. We were closer than ever. And then came the invite. Come over tonight, Laura texted. I made dinner. I want to celebrate. Celebrate what? I asked. New beginnings. I arrived at her apartment at 8 p.m. She looked radiant. She poured me a glass of wine, some expensive vintage Steve had probably bought her. To us, she said, clinking her glass against mine. To us, I echoed. I took a sip. It tasted rich, oaky, and odd. The last thing I remember was the room spinning and Laura's smile blurring into a smear of red lipstick. I woke up with a headache that felt like a drill boring into my temples. My mouth was dry, stuffed with a piece of cloth. I tried to move my hands, but they were bound tight behind me. My ankles were tied to the legs of a heavy wooden chair. Panic surged through me. I tried to scream, but only a muffled grunt came out. Ice-cold water hit my face, shocking me fully awake. I gasped, choking against the gag. Laura stood in front of me, holding an empty pitcher. She wasn't smiling anymore. Her face was a mask of cold indifference. She reached out and yanked the gag from my mouth. What the hell is this? Laura, untie me. Are you crazy? Laura walked over to the kitchen island and poured herself another glass of wine. She took a slow sip, watching me. You know, Steve called me the night he broke up with me. He was a mess, crying, begging. He told me everything, Stacy. The blackmail, the photos, the threats. He's a liar. He's sick, Laura. You don't know. I know about the hair. I've known since the third date. Do you think I'm stupid? I've seen the scars from the treatments. I've seen the appointments on his calendar. I stared at her, stunned. You knew? Of course I knew. And I didn't care. Do you know why? She walked closer. Because he paid rent for this apartment. He paid for my tuition. He paid for my wardrobe. But I was sick of that rat. Sick of the way he smelled. A girl like me with a body like this? I deserved better than that rat man. I was sticking with him for the portfolio, Stacy. I was building a nest egg. Then why are you doing this to me? Because you ruined the long game. My head snapped to the side, my cheek burning. I had 6 more months planned. He was going to buy me a condo in Soho for graduation. And you blew it up because you were jealous. I did it for you. I wanted you to be free of him. Bullshit. You did it because you're obsessed with me. The room went silent. I see the way you look at me. I see how you touch my arm, how you glare at any guy who comes near me. You didn't want to save me, Stacy. You wanted to own me. I couldn't deny it. Fine. You're right. I hate him because he had you. And yes, you should be happy. You're done with the rat man now because of me. You don't have to pretend anymore. Laura stared at me for a long moment, and then a slow, cruel smile spread across her lips. Oh, you're right, she said softly. I am done with him. And I suppose you did save me from having to break his heart myself. She walked behind me. I flinched, expecting another hit. Instead, I felt the ropes loosen. She untied my hands, then my feet. I stood up, rubbing my wrists. Laura, sit. she commanded. I sat back down on the edge of the chair, unsure of what was happening. My heart was hammering in my chest. I know why you did this. You wanted a reward. You wanted the prize. I will reward you. One time. This was the best day of my life. I was so happy. But Laura's expression then shifted to pure disgust. She grabbed my chin, squeezing hard. You think you have a shot? She laughed, a harsh, brittle sound. With me? Please. You're just as pathetic as Steve. You're a leech, Stacy. You feed on people who actually shine. Stay away from me, and stay away from my new boyfriend. She shoved me backward. I stumbled, catching myself on the chair. Laura turned and walked to the door. She grabbed her purse. She then opened the door, and a man stepped into the frame. He was tall, handsome, wearing a suit that cost more than my tuition. I recognized him immediately. Daniel, the heir to a pharmaceutical empire. He was richer than Steve, better looking than Steve. Ready to go, babe? Daniel asked, not even glancing at me. More than ready, Laura purred. She looped her arm through his, casting one last look back at me. Bye, Stacy, she said. The door clicked shut. I sat there in the silence of the empty apartment, the slap mark on my cheek throbbing, realizing that all the rats weren't the ones hiding in the dark. Some of them were the ones shining the brightest. My name's Alex. I was 22 at the time. I lived with my buddy Ryan, also 22, who worked at a record store downtown and spent most of his free time playing guitar like his life depended upon it. We'd been doing fine splitting rent 3 ways until our third roommate, Derek, pulled the classic college guy move. Announced that he was studying abroad for the summer, packed his and vanished without helping find a replacement. Ryan and I figured we'd eat the extra cost for a month or two, put up an ad on Craigslist, and move on. Then, one afternoon, I got home from work, and there was a woman standing in our kitchen like she had lived there forever. She was maybe mid-30s. Who the hell are you? I asked, setting my keys down harder than necessary. She turned, startled, and then gave me this awkward half-smile. Oh, hey, I'm Tara. Derek subleased the room to me. He said it was cool with you guys. I stared. Derek didn't say shit to us. Ryan walked in from the hallway, guitar pick still between his teeth. What's going on, man? This is Tara. Apparently, Derek rented out his room behind our backs. Ryan blinked a few times, then shrugged. Well, if she's paying rent, I guess we're good. Hi, Tara, I'm Ryan. She nodded quickly. Thanks. I'm between jobs right now, but I'll get it sorted. Promise. We should have known better. Red flags were flapping in a hurricane. But we were young, and we didn't want the drama of eviction notices, so we let her stay. Now, the first couple of weeks weren't terrible. She mostly stayed in her room, door closed. And then the music started. Heavy, distorted riffs and thumping bass at all hours. 2 p.m., 3 a.m., didn't matter. The walls were paper thin. I could feel the vibration in my bed. I'd bang on her door. Tara, turn that down. Some of us have to work tomorrow. She'd crack the door an inch. Oh, sorry, Alex. Didn't realize. I'll lower it. She never did. She'd barely left during daylight. I'd see her slip out around midnight and then come back at sunrise with takeout bags or nothing at all. Then the guys started showing up. Rough-looking dudes, tattoos crawling up their necks, the kind who make you double-check the deadbolt. They'd stay for hours. Sometimes I'd hear low, tense voices through the wall. Sometimes laughter that didn't sound happy. Once, I walked past her door and I saw things that I can't describe here, but trust me, it was not normal. Ryan and I just looked at each other across the living room. Jesus, you think she's turning tricks in there? I don't know what the hell she's doing, I said, but it's getting weird. We tried talking to her once, over cheap pizza that we ordered in order to clear the air. Hey, Tara, look, we're not trying to be morons, but the music at all hours, the late night visitors, it's messing with our heads. She picked at the crust, eyes on the table. I get it. I'm sorry. It's been rough. Lost my job. Ex took everything. These guys, they're just friends helping me out. Helping how? Ryan asked, leaning forward. Just stuff. Don't worry about it. She forced a smile. So, Ryan, you play guitar? That's cool. I used to mess around with one back in the day. Ryan lit up. He's a sucker for anyone who shows interest in music. Yeah, man. Got a Fender Strat and a Martin acoustic in my room. Been collecting pedals and picks forever. I shot him a look like, don't get cozy. But he was already talking shop. About a month in, things went from sketchy to absolutely messed up. Ryan came home one evening looking like someone had punched him in the gut. Bro, my guitars are gone. I froze. What do you mean, gone? Both of them! Strat and acoustic. Left them in my room this morning, came back from my shift, nothing. We tore the house apart. Nothing. Tara's door was locked, music blasting again. We pounded on it. Tara, open the damn door! It took forever, but she finally opened it, eyes bloodshot. What? Where are my guitars? Ryan demanded. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, arms crossed. Cut the I snapped. No one else has been in here. She tried every excuse in the book for 20 solid minutes. Maybe you left them somewhere. Could have been someone else. I heard noises outside yesterday. Finally, she broke. Fine, okay, I pawned them. Power bill was due. I was short. I was gonna buy them back when I got money. Money from what? You don't have a job? And rent's due in 3 days. You telling me you won't have that either? She sank onto the bed, tears starting. No, I don't. Things are bad. Really bad. Look, just don't call the cops, please. Ryan's face was stone. You stole from me. My livelihood. My She begged. Guys, come on. I've been through hell. It's abusive acts. No family. Have some mercy. I felt that little tug. That part of you that wants to believe that people can change. But no. Not this time. Mercy doesn't bring guitars back, Tara. We called the non-emergency line. Explained the theft. They said that we would need an official report to recover anything from the pawn shop. 2 officers arrived within the hour. Tara was in her room, frantically stuffing clothes into duffel bags. We heard zippers and curses. The cops knocked. Ma'am, police, open the door. She came out, luggage in hand, face pale. What's going on? Just need to talk about some reported stolen property, the female officer said evenly. Tara glanced at us, then back at her bags. As she started down the stairs, she turned with this weird, half-joking smile. Don't take any of my shit, all right? We waited in the living room. A few minutes later, the male cop came back in. She's got an active warrant out of Round Rock. Same MO. Theft, pawning stolen goods. We're taking her in. Ryan let out a shaky laugh. Holy shit. What about her stuff? I asked. Up to you guys. She won't be back tonight. After they cuffed her and loaded her into the squad car, her yelling, "This is the whole way down the driveway, We stood there, staring at the mess she'd left behind. "Curbside?" Ryan asked. "Curbside," I said. We dragged everything out. Ratty duffels, a cracked laptop, random smelly clothes. Neighbors peeked from porches, but we didn't care. It felt like taking our house back. Next morning, armed with the police report, Ryan got both guitars back from the pawn shop on South Congress. They had a few new scratches, but they played. We changed the locks that same day and posted a new ad, this time with background checks and references required. Derek got a very angry group text. Turns out he had pocketed the sublease money and ghosted. If you are watching this, my friends, trust your gut, vet your roommates, and never underestimate how fast a quiet house can turn into chaos. I remember it like it was yesterday, even though it's been over 2 decades. Back in 2002, I was 23 with a certificate in welding, and I had just landed my first real job at this gritty shop in the industrial part of Michigan, Warren. The pay wasn't great, but it was enough to get me out of my parents' basement and into my own apartment. I was so proud. It felt like freedom, like I was finally adulting. And that's where I met Jake. He was this massive guy, probably 6'4" and built like a linebacker. He never talked much about his time in Corps. We worked the same shift, grinding away at metal frames for auto parts. And then, one day, after clocking out, his truck wouldn't start. "Yo, brother, you headed east? Mind giving a big dumb Marine a ride?" He grinned, breath fogging in the cold. I laughed. "Hop in, big dumb Marine." That ride turned into every night. We'd blast Slipknot or Old Cash, stop at Kroger for a 12-pack, and then end up at his mom's little ranch house where Rita would have biscuits and gravy waiting like we were still growing boys. Rita was a saint. Cigarette rasp, bleach, blonde hair, and she'd shove a plate at you before you even got your coat off. "Eat, both of you. You're skin and bones," she'd say, even though Jake was built like a refrigerator. One night in March, Jake cracked his 4th beer and said, "Man, this commuting shit is killing me. Why don't I just crash at your place? Split rent 50-50. Save us both money." I didn't even think twice. Hell yeah! Move in tomorrow. Biggest mistake of my 20s. The first month was actually fun. We'd get home, shower off the slag and sweat, pound beers, and Jake would fire up his screamin' Dell and jump into Yahoo voice chants. Dude would argue with me about Halo 2 until 3 in the morning. "You're trash, man. I'd punch you in real life." He'd scream into the headset, laughing like a maniac. I'd yell, "Tell him you'll piss on his motherboard," and we'd lose it. And then the switch flipped. He started calling in sick. I'd drag my ass to work alone and then come home to him passed out in his boxers, an empty case of Busch on the floor, and puke dried on the coffee table. One time I walked in and the living room smelled like a urinal cake exploded. "Jake, what the hell, man?" I kicked his foot. He lifted his head, eyes unfocused. I don't know, brother. Must have spilled something." There was a puddle of piss in the corner and a half-eaten Domino's face down on my couch. I almost threw up myself out the window. "You gotta get a handle on this. You're wrecking the place." "Oh, I got it, I got it," he'd mumble, hungover and sorry. Next day, same shit, new case. It escalated fast. One night, he put his fist through the drywall because some teenager online called him a washed-up jarhead. Another night, I came home and he was screaming at the TV, swinging a golf club at shadows. "Jake, put the damn club down!" He turned, swaying, eyes black. You gonna make me, little man? Now, I'm 6'1", 210, but he had 4 inches and 70 pounds on me. I backed off. Slept with my door locked and a knife under the pillow after that. I told him flat out, you've got till the end of the month to get out. He laughed in my face. I pay half the rent, try and evict me. A couple weeks later, I came home from overtime, and the apartment door was kicked in. Cops. Turns out, Jake had gone to a bar on 8 Mile, got in a fight over a pool game, and cracked some dude's orbital with a cue stick. Felony assault. They hauled him off in cuffs while I stood there in my greasy coveralls, thanking God out loud. His mom, Rita, showed up the next day, crying, packing his shit in trash bags. I'm so sorry, honey. I didn't know it was this bad. It's okay, Miss Rita. Just get him out of my life. I thought that was the end. Until 3 a.m. 2 months later. Open up! It's Jake! I got nowhere to go! I looked through the peephole. He looked like a scarecrow that lost a fight with a lawnmower. Get the hell away from my door before I call the cops again. Come on, man. One night. I'm sober, I swear. I dialed 911. Cops came, dragged him off for violating the no contact order that the judge slapped on him. That was the last time I saw him in person. Well, fast forward 20 plus years. I'd done 2 hours in the sandbox with a defense contractor, married a German girl that I met in Stuttgart, had 3 kids, moved back to Michigan when her mom got sick. One night last fall, I'm doom-scrolling Facebook at 1 a.m. because jet lag still owns me, and his name pops up in People You May Know. Jake Harlan. Profile pic? Him in a polo shirt, arms crossed, smiling clean. Cover photo? Him accepting some certificate. I clicked. Bio said, 8 years sober, peer recovery coach, training to be a CADC. The hell? I sent a message. Big Jake? That you, man? He replied in like 30 seconds. Holy shit. Brother? How you living? We ended up on Messenger for 3 hours. Man, I owe you the biggest apology on planet Earth, he typed. I was a goddamn animal back then. I don't even remember half the shit I did to you, but I know I pissed in your corners, puked on your couch, threatened you. I'm ashamed. I laughed. Actually laughed. Yeah, you were a walking disaster, dude. Scared the shit out of me. Well, AA and jail saved my life. After that last arrest, I woke up dope sick in county, crying. Mom dragged me to a meeting. Been clean ever since. Now I work at the very same treatment center that pulled me out the gutter. I help guys that used to be me. Oh, that's badass, Jake. Proud of you, brother. Tried finding you years ago to make amends. Step 9, you know? Never could track you down. Well, you found me now. We talked about Rita. She passed in 2019. And those biscuits and gravy we used to scarf down. He sent me a picture of his new rescue pit bull named Biscuit. I sent him one of my kids holding fish up at Lake St. Clair. At the end, he wrote, "If you ever forgive me, I'd love to buy you a coffee sometime. If not, I get it. Just know I'm sorry from the bottom of my soul." My name is Sue, and this happened a few years back when I lived alone in a small rental house with thin walls. That night, the sky was already mad. Cool, I said to no one, watching the trees thrash outside my living room window. Love this energy. I had been doom-scrolling on my phone, half watching the weather app, half responding to DMs from people asking if the underwears that I was selling were actually worn by me. I was in my hustle era back then. Just me, Costco runs, limited edition colors, and strangers Venmoing me. My stomach cramped suddenly. Oh no. Now? Really? I hustled to the bathroom, phone in hand. Light on, door half closed. Rain slammed the roof like it was personal. I sat down, finally relaxed, and that's when my body decided to betray me in a way that I was not spiritually prepared for. Full, violent, soul-leaving-the-body sneeze. And at that exact moment, the power went out. Total blackout. No glow from the hallway, no street light bleed, no LED anything. Just darkness so thick it felt textured. I froze mid-existence. No. I waved my hand in front of my face. Nothing. Oh my god, I'm blind. I myself blind. My heart started pounding like it was trying to escape my ribcage and move somewhere safer. I could hear the rain, my own breathing, the low hum of terror settling in. This cannot be how it ends. This is not my story. I fumbled for my phone. Dead. Of course it was dead, because why wouldn't it be? Okay. You're fine. You're just temporarily blind on a toilet. I reached to the side, knocking something over. What was that? I yelped. Why was there something there? I tried to remember where I kept the toilet paper. I had lived there for 2 years. 2 years! And yet, my brain had chosen this moment to factory reset. Left, I said. No, right. Definitely right. Or was it in the back? My hand brushed porcelain. Yes. Thank you, God. I completed the task with the focus of someone defusing a bomb. Every sound felt amplified. The flush echoed like a gunshot. I sat there afterward in complete darkness, fully convinced my life had split into a before and after. How do you even tell people this? I whispered. Do you open with it? Or ease them in? I imagined calling my mom. Hey, sweetie, what's wrong? Well, I sneezed while pooping and now I'm blind. I imagined the group chat. Guys, emergency. Not medical. Bathroom related. My chest tightened. I don't even have good vision insurance. I sell tumblers on the internet. Time stretched. Seconds felt like minutes. Minutes felt like a lifetime. And then lightning cracked through the sky, flooding the hallway with white light for half a second. Just long enough for me to see the doorframe, the sink, reality. I gasped. Actually gasped. Oh my god! I can see! I can see! Another flash followed. Softer this time. Like the universe patting my head. I'm never sneezing again. I don't care if my nose explodes. I finished up, washed my hands in cold water, and stood there shaking, staring at my reflection in the mirror. You almost lost it all on a Tuesday. The power came back a few minutes later. The house hummed back to life like nothing had happened. No scars, no witnesses, just me and a story that sounded fake even to my own ears. I texted my friend later. Almost went blind tonight. She replied, I smiled, set my phone down, and decided some things were better left undocumented.
The first time it happened, I didn't even see it straight on. I was alone in our apartment in Illinois, south of Chicago. The TV was on, but I couldn't tell you what I was watching. I had a newborn in the next room. That kind of watching TV isn't really watching. It's just letting noise keep you from hearing your own thoughts. My daughter had finally gone down for a nap, which meant I had exactly 1 sacred hour to sit like a human being. I remember thinking, don't move too much, don't jinx it. I had my phone in my hand and a cold coffee on the end table. Cold because I kept making it and forgetting it existed. And then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw something move on the couch. Not a little twitch, not a shadow. A thing. I snapped my head toward it, and my whole body went hot and numb at the same time. A spider. A giant spider. I'm talking the size of my hand, maybe bigger, with legs like twigs and a dark glossy body. It looked like something that should have had its own theme music. I stood up so fast my knees hit the coffee table. No, 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 no. My skin crawled like it already touched me. I didn't think. I didn't weigh options. I didn't even grab shoes. I just bolted down the hall. My daughter was sleeping, tiny and perfect, her mouth slightly open. She had that newborn smell of milk and clean skin. My heart was hammering so hard I thought it would wake her up through the crib mattress. I whispered, hands shaking as I reached for her. Hey, sweetie, mommy's got you. Mommy's got you. She stirred, making that small newborn grunt. My panic spiked. What if she cried and that spider came? Why did my brain make it come like it could hunt? I yanked open the dresser drawer and started grabbing whatever I could. A onesie, socks, a little hat. Everything got tangled up because my hands weren't cooperating. Please don't wake up. I begged, like I wasn't talking to a baby but to the universe. I dressed her as fast as I could, fumbling with snaps. My own breath sounded loud in my ears. When I finally got her bundled against my chest, I kicked the room door shut behind me and shoved a rolled towel along the crack underneath, like I was sealing a room from toxic gas. Okay, we're fine. I was not fine. I had my phone in one hand and my daughter in the other, and I called my husband. He answered on the second ring. Hey, he started. I said, and my voice came out as a sob. There's a spider, a huge spider, like the size of my hand. I saw it on the couch. I can't find it now, and I'm freaking out. My voice came out as a sob. He paused, and I could hear the faint sound of his workplace in the background. Machines, people talking. A spider? He repeated. It was a giant spider. Don't say it like I'm being dramatic. It was huge. Okay, where are you? In the room. I shut the door and plugged the bottom. I'm not letting it in here. Hun, we don't have spiders like that here. It's probably... Don't you dare. I saw it. Honey, I believe you saw something. I'm saying it might have looked bigger because... Because I'm tired? Because I'm crazy? I'm alone here with her. If it crawls into her crib... It won't, honey. I'll come home as soon as I can. Can you go outside? Can you wait in the car? I am not walking through the living room. I'm not. Call your mom. Have her come over. I'm calling her right now. I then hung up without saying goodbye. My mom answered like she always did. Upbeat, midlife busy. Hi, honey. Everything okay? No, Mom. There's a spider in the apartment. It's huge, like not a normal spider. I can't find it anywhere. I'm scared. There was a small pause. Oh, honey, she said, and I hated the gentle tone immediately. Did you actually see it, sweetie, or did you see a shadow? I saw it, Mom. I saw legs, the body. I saw it. I'm not making this up. She made a little sound like she was trying not to laugh. It might have been her own nerves, but it hit me like betrayal. Sweetheart, you're exhausted. You've barely been sleeping. Your eyes play tricks when you're... She said. My eyes aren't playing tricks. I'm holding the baby and I'm terrified. Okay, sweetie, what do you want me to do? I want you to believe me and I want you to help. I can't stay here. Okay, sweetie, I understand. Do you want to come here? She asked, and it sounded like she finally understood the depth of it. Yes, I'm coming. All right, bring the baby. I'll put on coffee. Just drive safe, okay? I moved like the apartment was full of landmines. I didn't walk into the living room. I didn't check the couch again. I didn't do anything a rational person would do, because rationality wasn't available to me. Fear had locked it in a drawer. I held my daughter tight, grabbed the diaper bag, and opened the room door like I was opening a cage. I kept my eyes down on the carpet, scanning for movement. Every speck looked like a leg. Please. I muttered under my breath as I rushed through the hallway. I slammed the apartment door behind me and didn't breathe until I was in the car with the doors locked. I sat there for a second, shaking so hard the baby's blanket trembled. She made a tiny sound and I kissed her forehead. I'm sorry, sweetie. Mommy's just scared. The drive to my mom's felt like fleeing a crime scene. An hour of white-knuckled steering and checking mirrors, like the spider might somehow be waiting in the back seat. Every time my daughter made a noise, my whole chest clenched. When I got to my mom's house, she opened the door. She took one look at my face and stopped making that "you're being silly" expression. "Oh, honey, you're shaking." I know it sounds stupid, but it felt so real. It felt like it was going to get her. I started crying full ugly sobs. My mom rubbed my back. "It's not stupid, sweetie. Come sit. Give me the baby." That night, when my husband got home, he called me from our apartment. I tore the couch apart, like literally. I flipped it, took cushions off, checked under everything. I checked the vents, the baseboards. I can't find anything. So it's hiding. It's hiding. "Or respectfully, sweetie, it wasn't there," he said gently, and I could hear him choosing words like he was walking through a room full of glass. I went cold. "So you think I made it up?" "I think you're under a lot. I think your brain is running on fumes." "My brain isn't broken. I saw it." "Baby, I'm not saying you lied. I'm saying maybe your mind did that thing minds do when you're terrified and exhausted." I stared at the wall in my mom's kitchen while she washed bottles in the sink, and I felt something deep and humiliating settle in my stomach. The possibility that maybe I couldn't trust my own eyes. Days went by. Time did what time does. The memory dulled. My daughter got bigger. My life returned to a version of normal. A year later, I was sitting in a college classroom. Psych 101, I think. I'd signed up because I needed something that was mine again. Something that didn't involve diapers. The professor was an older woman, lecturing about postpartum mental health, writing terms on the board. Postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, intrusive thoughts, panic. I was half listening, doodling in my notebook, when she added, casual as anything. And in some cases, postpartum psychosis. That can include hallucinations. My pen stopped. Hallucinations can be visual or auditorial, hearing things, seeing shadows or figures. Sometimes insects. Sometimes the mind creates a threat as a way of explaining overwhelming stress. The room went quiet in my head, like someone hit mute. I raised my hand without even thinking. "Yes?" she said. "Is it common, like seeing something that isn't there, especially like bugs?" "It happens. Not the most common symptom overall, but it is documented. Sleep deprivation, hormonal shifts, anxiety, it can all contribute." My face went hot. I felt stupid and vindicated at the same time, which is a terrible combination. After class, I waited while everyone else filed out. When the professor looked up, I blurted, "I thought I saw a huge spider after my baby was born." She didn't laugh. She didn't look at me like I was ridiculous. She just said, "That must have been terrifying." It hit me so hard I almost cried right there between the desks. It was. I felt insane. She leaned against the desk. "You weren't insane. You were overwhelmed and exhausted, and your brain did what brains do under extreme conditions. It doesn't make you stupid. It makes you human."
My name is David. I live on the 22nd floor, high enough that the city feels quiet, like it's learned to behave. I matched with a woman on a dating app one Tuesday night. Her profile said she liked movies that lingered. We started talking about Avatar. She had just seen the latest, Fire and Ash, and told me about Neytiri's rage, grief turning into something sharp enough to burn everything around it. I remember smiling at my phone longer than I meant to. The next morning I didn't text her back. I told myself I was busy. I always say that. That weekend, I stepped onto my balcony and found ash on the floor. A thin, gray layer, like it had drifted in from somewhere far away. There was no fire nearby, no smoke, just ash. I swept it away. A few nights later, there was more. Each morning it returned, thicker, heavier. I stood there thinking about that conversation, about how grief doesn't stay quiet forever, how it looks for somewhere to land. The memory came back without warning, The urn. My hands shaking. The wind between buildings. I had scattered my wife's ashes a few months ago. Told myself it was temporary. Told myself I'd remember. I hadn't. My mind erased it to keep me functioning, to keep me alive. The ash wasn't new. I was just finally seeing it. I went to watch Avatar Fire and Ash alone. In the dark, watching a world burn and change forever. Something loosened inside me. Fire doesn't only destroy. Ash is what remains when the pain has passed through you. When I got home, I opened the app and typed, "Hey, I still owe you that drink," I wrote. This time, I didn't stop myself.